For the record, outside the Saudi consulate in Istanbul today, there was still no sign of Jamal Khashoggi, just police barricades and silence. Khashoggi, a dissident Saudi journalist living in exile in the U.S., went missing October 2nd. Last seen on this security video going into that consulate, Turkey believes a Saudi assassination squad was waiting inside and that he was captured, killed, and perhaps dismembered. His body removed in pieces from the Saudi compound.
If they lured this man into that consulate, they went medieval on him, and he was killed, and he was chopped up, and they sent a death crew down there to kill him and do all this, that'd be an outrage.
If Khashoggi's dead, said Republican Senator Marco Rubio today, the U.S. must respond or it risks its own standing.
It undermines our ability to stand for morality and human rights all over the world. How can we criticize Putin for killing journalists if we're prepared to allow an ally to do the same?
But there's a lot to learn. There really is.
Donald Trump has seemed to equivocate yesterday, threatening severe punishment if the story's true, but also highlighting U.S. Saudi ties. Trump's first international trip as president was to Saudi Arabia, and he suggested he may not want to risk derailing a huge U.S. arms contract with the Saudis. To any threat of punishment, the Saudis themselves today threatened a forceful counter-response. But in a signal other countries are growing impatient for a plausible explanation to Khashoggi's disappearance, Britain, France, and Germany today, in a joint statement, pressed the Saudis for answers.
If they've got nothing to hide, then they will and should cooperate. And if, as they say, this terrible murder didn't happen, then where is Jamal Khashoggi?
To that end, late today, the Saudis and the Turkish government spoke about a joint working group to investigate whatever happened in that consulate. Turkey welcomed the step, but for the moment, that's as far as it goes. Adrian.
So, Paul, you mentioned that Donald Trump's threat to punish the Saudis if allegations are true, but as tough as he talks, sometimes he also seems to be holding back a bit, too, it seems.
Indeed. The arms deal he talked about is for $110 billion, though there's some question whether those are actually firm sales with the Saudis. Still, Trump is certainly suggesting it'd be a bad idea to cancel the deal as punishment. He said that'd cost U.S. companies, kill jobs, and hurt the economy. But some have noted there's more in play here than just that. Over the years, Trump has often boasted that the Saudis have bought tens of millions of dollars in real estate from him, and so he likes them, he once said. His company made all kinds of money from Saudi business at Trump hotels, including one just down the street from here. His son-in-law, Jared Kushner, is tight with the Saudi crown prince, so it's tricky. And through it all, when it comes to Khashoggi, Trump may make threats, but he also emphasizes the Saudis deny any wrongdoing.
All right, thanks, Paul. The CBC's Paul Hunter in Washington tonight. Now, Saudi Arabia, it seems, has paid a bit of a steep price today for the growing controversy. Its main stock market index plummeted by 7% in less than 2 hours of trading. That's the biggest drop since oil prices crashed in 2014. Some stocks did rally by the end of the day, but the index was still down 3.5%. Investors largely scared off by the prospect of sanctions against the kingdom. The fallout is spreading now beyond the markets. The world's business elite are set to meet later this month in Riyadh for a conference that's called the Future Investment Initiative. But now some participants are bailing. The Financial Times, Bloomberg, CNN, and CNBC have withdrawn as media sponsors. The New York Times, The Economist, and several prominent journalists say they are no longer attending. And the same goes for some business leaders like Richard Branson and Uber's chief executive, and the giant investment bank JP Morgan Chase. The president of the World Bank has also withdrawn, citing a scheduling conflict, but not the woman who leads the International Monetary Fund.
Horrifying things have been reported, and I am horrified. But I have to conduct the business of the IMF in all corners of the world and with many governments.
Still slated to attend, Steve Mnuchin, the U.S. Treasury Secretary, and some representatives from Wall Street.